Hey, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakudash, and double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect throughout the four winds of the earth who are preaching and teaching this word in truth and in sincerity. Alright, I was reading through Hebrews, the 11th chapter. Alright, and just says some beautiful things, man. Okay, like here, let me start up. I'll just start at verse 23. Hebrews 11 and 23. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And this is kind of what we do now. All right. We choose to suffer affliction now, by not being one with the world, and therefore we are looked at as weird, as fools. We have turned our back on the world, and just like the scriptures say, that when one turns from evil, when one departs from evil, he makes himself a prey. And we're like a prey to the world, man, and that's gonna come to its peak when they begin to demonize the prophets on on national television, because that's gonna happen. All right, they're going to demonize and outlaw, speaking of the prophecies of this book that is going to come to fruition. All right, it says choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And that's what 2/3 of our people do. They take their part in sin, but little do they know that it's only for a season. Although they think that it's going to be a forever thing. It says, esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. Man, look, see? So, following after the Lord is going to bring... Hey, man, the scriptures say that. It shall bring thee more profit than gold. It's from the book of Sirach 29 and verse 11. And it says, lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High. So basically, follow after the Lord and do your best to abide by his commandments. All right, so that's basically what that's saying. To seek after him the best you can. It says, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. All right. And it says, esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. So this word and this truth can bring a reward better than better than all the treasures and the riches of this current world. You know, it says for, and truly, the only thing that the money of this world can buy is physical, material possessions. And after a while, that shit becomes very unfulfilling. A perfect example. I watched a clip of Andrew Tate last night, and he had spoke saying that he's bought everything that anybody can dream of. A yacht, all of the fanciest fucking cars that people can buy. Big beautiful house or houses all over the world. He's had like all the women that a man could want. He's bought everything. And so now he said that he's bored. And so he was giving advice to keep that dream and to be happy about the dream, to strive towards something. Because once you have everything, you have nothing and you're empty. And that is exactly what America is, man. People strive for all this money to buy all this fancy shit which doesn't benefit you. It's just so that the flesh can be like, oh, I have this. It's not important, man. It's not important. But the truth and the reward that can come from it, man, I think it says in the book of actually, let me just get it. 1 Corinthians 2:9. And it says, but as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which the Most High hath prepared for them that love him. So the things that are going to come to us in the kingdom, they can't even be thought about. It's beyond human comprehension. You know, our very basic level of comprehension, because it's been dubbed down, man. Slovakia, kind of taking a bit to get through this. It says for he had, back in Hebrews 11:26, it says, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Man, beautiful. It says, by faith he forsook Egypt. It's exactly what we do. Not fearing the wrath of the king. Exactly what we do. For he endured. Exactly what we do. As seeing him who is invisible. Man. The works that we do, you know, and this is why that we so importantly talk about, or we talk about how important works are, because the works and what you perform and what you do is what proves what you believe in. You know? That's why the scriptures say faith without works is dead, being alone. Faith alone cannot stand, but faith is upheld by your works. It says, through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians, essaying to do, were drowned. Look, see, and you know, and this is going to be like the times to come. Okay, the Lord's going to provide a way for the elect to escape out of certain situations. But those who are not of the promise and try to follow will be drowned. You know, and we know that there are going to be situations to be delivered from. Okay, we talk about those times all the time. The time where Esau comes down with his great wrath upon Jacob, because he hates Jacob, man. He hates Jacob, and he sees what Jakes are preaching out here, and it's gonna vex him heavily. I'm gonna keep reading though. I'm gonna read down to like 35 probably. It says, by faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days. By faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. Right, back in Joshua, it says, and what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, and of Barak, and of Samson, and of Jephthah, of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. It says, women received their dead raised to life again. And Yahushua brought people back to life, man. And what did Yahushua say to his disciples? He said, greater works thou shalt do than I have. So the elect are going to be bringing people back to life, man. Hard for people to believe, but those who are meant to receive it will receive it and believe it, and that's all that matters. It says, and that's why the scriptures speak about whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. We will say it. We don't care what y'all think. It says, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, and they might obtain a better resurrection. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover the bonds of imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented. And this is gonna, and this might happen, or is going to happen to some of the elect, because the Lord has different paths for every man to prove fully his own faith, and there are going to be some who are going to be dead, or who are going to die in the faith. There's two scriptures, one talking about those who shall be beheaded for the testimony of Yahushua, and then two, the one that says those that were dead in the Lord were raised first, when he came back. So, and even though these men went through these things, still better than partaking in a temporary time of pleasure in America. It's still going to be better, man. because there is a better end. And that better end is going to be for eternity. It says, of whom the world was not worthy. Man, the world is not worthy of the prophets. Not worthy of the message, man, but it's still here anyways. It says, they wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth, and these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. It says, the Most High, having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. So those men who followed after the Lord, they ended up dying, man. But the Lord said that they have obtained a good report through faith, that they didn't receive the promise, and that's just a yet thing, because they're going to receive it later in the next life. It says the Most High, having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. So yeah, man. I just really wanted to go through that. Just like a beautiful chapter, man. Real heavy. So with that being said, I hope and pray that it was edifying. Until the next one, Shalom.